Hi guys, I'm back with another video. I hope that you all are doing well and shining your light bright. I hope that you guys are finding my videos to be useful. I hope that you're using them to encourage you and to motivate you, inspire you to think a little bit differently, to do something differently, and try to be the best version of yourself. Today's topic is autonomy. I noticed that in my generation, we lack autonomy. We lack the ability to think for ourselves. We lack the ability to make our own decisions. We lack the ability to act independently out of others. We always need reassurance from others that our decision is the best decision. No one can know what is the best decision for ourselves other than ourselves. We should not doubt ourselves when we're thinking of making a decision. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with going and asking someone for their opinion. The key is to not make your decision based off of that person's opinion and perspective. You can consider the other person's point of view, perspective, and opinion, but don't change your decision based off what that person has told you. That person has a totally different perspective from you, and that person doesn't always know best for you. For example, we do this all the time. Us females, we do it a lot, whereby we're taking a choice or a decision that we have to make within our personal relationships, and we go and ask other people about what should we do or how should we handle this, not listening to ourselves. How can we go and ask someone else when they're not dealing with the guy? They don't know who the guy is. They're gonna include all of their biased opinions on the guy. They're gonna judge him. They're gonna assume things about him. They don't know him. Another thing that we do is that within society, there's a collective that we tend to group with the most, who share the same beliefs, and they all kind of feed off of each other's mind, off of each other's thoughts. They kind of like egg them on, like, yeah, you're thinking correctly, or you did this correctly. We're around certain people that can benefit our beliefs. Unknowingly, we think and we act like each other. For example, when the toxicness era came out and when the red flag era came out, everybody had something to agree with and say that yes, that's a red flag. And it could have been the simplest of things the group considered a red flag. For example, not answering the phone when you're working. Like, how is that a red flag? If I'm working, I cannot answer the phone. If I'm in a meeting, I cannot answer a text message. How is that a red flag? If you respond within a couple of hours, that's a red flag. We made every little thing a red flag. Also, like those threads on Facebook and on Instagram that say buy these perfumes if you want a man to chase after you, and then all of the girls are reposting the thread not knowing they're gonna pick up these perfumes, and then you know what's gonna happen? Every single female is gonna smell exactly the same. We're gonna be a part of a collective. We're gonna be a part of the group that smells the same. We don't go to the store and we don't pick out the scent that we like. No, we go to the store and we buy the ones that we saw on the Facebook thread and the Instagram thread. Why do we do that? Because collectively, we are influenced by each other. It's unconsciously happening within your brain. It's happening in your subconscious. So you're not aware of it. That's why you go to the store and you see, oh, I saw this perfume. Oh, I saw this bag, someone had it. Oh, I saw these sneakers that someone had it and I want it. Trying to be like everybody else instead of taking autonomy for yourself. We let the people around us make decisions for us instead of acting independently. How you gain autonomy and how you kind of distance yourself from the collective is by being aware of your thoughts. You need to master your thoughts and you need to master your emotions. Take autonomy over your mind. You need to have responsibility for yourself and you need to have accountability for yourself. You need to gain autonomy so that you can have personal freedom and you are able to make your own choices, your own decisions solely based on yourself and what you prefer and what your thoughts are. You have the personal freedom to choose your own beliefs, your own values, your own preferences, and not base it off society or your friends or your family. I froze here. Sorry. You also need to gain autonomy so that you can have your own self-expression. You can share your passions, your identity, and your authentic self. When you have autonomy, you start to empower yourself. You start to believe in your abilities and you start to believe in your choices. You start to think that you're capable of doing stuff for yourself because you have the autonomy. You have the ability to think for yourself. You have the ability to choose for yourself, which leads into you need that to gain responsibility and accountability, because now your decision was your own decision. It was not anybody else's decision. It was your decision and you chose to do whatever you did. You chose to act in whatever manner you chose to act, and it was your decision. It wasn't anybody else's decision. And so what that means is that it allows you to take responsibility for your own actions, which this generation lacks a lot. We lack the ability to take accountability for our own actions because we're not making our own decisions. We're not making our own actions. We're doing what other people are telling us to do. We're doing what we're unconsciously seeing on social media. If we're not in control of our thoughts and we're letting someone else control our thoughts, then we're allowing someone else to control our decisions and our actions. And that's why we lack accountability and we lack respect for ourselves. We're unconsciously allowing others to control how we decide to act. This is why I don't watch reality TV shows. I don't watch Love and Hip Hop. I don't watch Real Housewives of whatever, because those people on TV are influencing your subconscious to act a certain way, to expect the guy to pay your bills on the first date and he doesn't even know you. That is influencing us, and we start to expect guys to do these things for us. We start to expect the push present. Since when was push present a thing? Can someone please tell me? Because that was never a thing. Since when gender reveals were a thing? They were never a thing. These things never existed until people of status started doing it. And then us wanting to be people of status, we start to do whatever we see these people doing. We start to have unrealistic expectations of what to expect from others and what to expect from ourselves. It's like when you tell your man, oh, buy me this bag because I saw that someone on Love and Hip Hop had this bag. And so your man is like, but why do you want a bag that someone else has? See, men are able to think a little bit more autonomous because they have to actually think for themselves, because they're the providers, they're the protectors. They are the one who have to take responsibility and accountability for their own actions. They can't blame anyone else. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some men out there that do blame other people for their actions. But a real man, he's going to take accountability for his own actions and his emotion and his thoughts, his decisions. He's not going to blame anyone else. He's going to take the accountability. Men are supposed to be the leaders. So you won't catch them blaming other people for their emotional responses and their decisions like females do. So when you have the autonomy to make your own decisions, then you're able to take accountability and take responsibility for the consequences that come with your actions and your decisions. When you have autonomy, you now know that your actions and your behaviors are going to have consequences. So you think clearly before you act. You don't think all over the place and react according to what you see on reality TV. You start to realize for yourself that all of that stuff is bullshit and you've been brainwashed. Now you start to think more critically about your decisions, your actions, your choices, your thoughts, your behavior. You start to think a little bit more in depth about it. Once that starts to happen, you start to feel more honorable. You start to take more pride in yourself. You start to feel better about yourself because you're making your own decisions, which leads to having respect for yourself. You start to have more dignity towards yourself and towards others. you start to see things differently. And this is so important in today's society, because once you have autonomy, you start to pick up on details and you start to notice who are the people around you that don't have any autonomy. You start to see that other people are easily influenced by others' emotions, thoughts, what they see on TV, what they see on advertisement, what they see on social media. You start to pick up on those things and you start to realize that not a lot of people think for themselves. Not a lot of people have control over their emotions. They let others influence their emotions and their thoughts and their decisions. And that's why sometimes we act so irrational. Most of the time, people feel that they're not in control of their emotions and their feelings because they cannot manage to control what's giving them the emotional response. In reality, you actually do have the ability to control the emotions that you feel and the thoughts that you feel to external factors. It's all about changing your emotional response to external factors by controlling and observing your perspective on that external factor, on the external influence. For example, all the time in the news, we always see negative things happening. We always see someone getting hurt on the subway, shots being fired in a park. And if we are directing our attention to thinking about how terrible the world is, then we will feel that the world is a terrible place. Instead of looking at the world being a terrible place, just look at it as an external factor that happened and it's unfortunate. We cannot do anything, and us putting our attention to it causes more of it because we start to fear it. Changing your perspective from the world is such a terrible place to empathizing with the situation, it will make your emotional response much better. The way to control your emotional response to external factors is by being aware of your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts as the external influence is coming to you. Being aware of how you're thinking about the situation and not letting that external factor control you, but you controlling your emotional response. This is something that we lack within ourselves because an external situation happens and we automatically react without taking the time to think and process how we're feeling and what are our emotions and what is it that our body is currently feeling at the moment. We tend to just react and we don't give ourselves times to process. You're negatively influenced by two things. You're influenced by others and you're influenced by your habits. So it's your pattern of thinking. You need to change your pattern of thinking. You need to change the habits that you have and you need to replace them with better habits. So when you're watching the news and something horrible is going on and you say the world is such a terrible place, if you're focusing your attention on the world is such a terrible place, then more of these occurrences will start to happen. If you start to focus your attention on more positive things that are going on in the world, you'll start to have a different viewpoint of the world. You'll start to have a different perspective of the world. So it's all about shifting your focus. Instead of paying attention to negative things, you're paying attention to more positive things. Your brain is like a spider web. It's collecting everything. Whether you're realizing it or not, it's picking up on everything in your environment. We have to start controlling what we allow into our spider web, into our brain. We need to start being aware of details. We need to start paying more attention to the unseen things because there is so much hidden in plain sight and we're so focused on one thing that we're missing out on everything else. If we continue to allow others to control the information that's going into our brain, then their agenda is not a good agenda. They're gonna influence us in the way that they want us to be influenced, and we won't have any control over that. So we need to gain back our autonomy and gain back our control of what we're allowing into our brains. What are we doing on our free time? What are we doing when we're around others? Are we sitting there gossiping, or are we sitting there talking about how to elevate? These are things that play a big role in influencing us unconsciously. Once we start to take autonomy for ourselves, people will follow in your footsteps. People will see how you're acting and they will want to act the same way. People are easily influenced. We're not aware of how easy we're influenced by others. So we need to take our autonomy back. We need to start taking control of our emotions, of our thoughts, our decisions, so that we can start to have more accountability, more respect, more honor, more pride, more dignity, more self-empowerment, more self-governance, more independence. Start shifting your focus from external factors to internal factors. Start being more aware of your habits, your thinking pattern, how you react in certain situations. Know your triggers, know yourself. You need to know yourself before trying to get to know anybody else. If you don't know yourself, then you cannot get to know anybody else, because you're gonna be confused. My generation is getting to the age that we need to start being accountable for ourselves. We need to take responsibility for ourselves, especially the men and females, because the experiences that we're going through is like so degrading. It's unbelievable. And we allow ourselves to get into these situations that just degrade us and make us look like a fool. If you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on my personal Instagram right here, and follow me on my quote Instagram right here. I post daily content on both of these Instagram, and I'm sure that if you follow, you will feel empowered, you will feel inspired, you will feel motivated, you will see life as such a beautiful thing versus a negative thing. Follow me on TikTok. The link is going to be down below in the description box. And until then, keep shining your light bright. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Trust in yourself. Trust in your decisions. Trust in your choices. Trust in your thoughts. Shift your focus from negative things to more positive things, and watch your life start to change. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, guys.